It's tax season and I'm a little stressed and I'm feeling a little overwhelmed because not only am I kind of late in putting this video out, but I need to do the taxes still. And I have an appointment coming up in a few days, actually. And then I also got asked by my friend slash former boss to do some web design work, which is a project that can be pretty time consuming as well. So got a lot going on right now, and I actually filmed this video yesterday, and it just kind of turned out to be a disaster. I realized after I posted it. And so I took it down, I privated it, and I'm going to start over. I'm going to refilm it. And hopefully this one, the points will be more clear and it'll just be better. I am trying to do the entire video in one take or just a couple takes because I don't want to spend a bunch of time editing this week. So yeah, that's where we're at. I wanted to share with you some solutions that I have and what helps me in case it can help you too, especially if you're stressed with doing the taxes or all this adulting stuff that comes to our lives when we're over 40, over 50, and we have responsibilities. We have people to care for, maybe, whether it's just ourselves, that can be plenty, or it might be our pets. And I don't know if you can see my little dog back there. He usually hangs out with me wherever I am. Or maybe it's our kids or our parents or spouses or loved ones that we take care of. And then we have things like bills, mortgages, rent, and taxes. So it can be a lot. And I'm not a tax preparer or anything. I just take mine to a CPA every year. And so I'm not going to talk to you about how to do your taxes because that's not my forte at all, but I am here to talk about how you can deal with the stress psychologically, what you can do to help yourself to get through it, maybe make things a little more easeful for yourself. So for myself, it really used to be so stressful. I've had years that were so stressful, like at tax season and stuff. And I have worked on that, coming up with some systems. Mostly it's self-care. So, for example, yesterday I was sitting on the couch just kind of worrying about how I was going to get everything done. And I have this tendency to put myself into a state of almost analysis paralysis, or maybe it's an ADHD thing. I don't know, because I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, but sometimes when I'm feeling overwhelmed, especially, I'll just sit and the wheels are turning and I'm worried and I'm just thinking, I'm starting to feel overwhelmed, like I'm not up to the task, I can't do this, I don't know how this is ever going to get done. And then I just start thinking about more and more tasks that need to be done. Meanwhile, I'm not addressing them, I'm not dealing with them, and more things start piling on, and it becomes a pretty awful cycle that's hard to escape. So I'm not sure, because I'm not a psychologist or doctor, so I'm not sure if it's ADHD or if it's just some sort of mental thing that some people with a lot of responsibility have to deal with. But either way, I found out that for me, I can get through it and deal with it by interrupting this cycle. And for me, the best way to interrupt it is to get up and sort of stop thinking about it for a while and practicing some basic practical self-care. It's not the kind of self-care where you're like putting on makeup and doing mani-pedis and doing like facial masks and bleaching or dyeing your hair or trying to make yourself look better for other people. That's not self-care in my opinion. And I did do a video about that. If you want to check out the video, I'll put it up here and you can check that out. But basically, I think the priority for self-care should be taking care of your inner being. So things that help your mind, body, and spirit, your internal self, to feel good and feel more energetic. That's what you need to prioritize. Well, you don't need to, but that's what I need to, and that's what helps me. And if you're listening to me, then maybe this can help you too. So yeah, like taking some time to get up, go for a walk, get some movement in. That was kind of the first thing that I did with my son yesterday. We did that. We went for a walk with the dogs. Well, we do that every day anyway, but it's just good to get your blood flowing, get your heart pumping, start doing some deep breathing, and let it be like mindful movement. So where you're just in the moment and you're not really thinking about your problems, you're not really thinking about your to-do list or worries about the past or future, but you're just in the moment, breathing, moving mindfully, a little bit of a moving meditation, if you will. And for me, it's also being in the presence of the dogs helps me get into that state, because the dogs are just in the moment. They're not thinking about other things. They're just thinking about the walk, and it's the highlight of their day. And they enjoy it so much. And it kind of puts me in that state too, where I'm just enjoying the present moment, and also watching my son in that mode, being with my son as we walk and seeing him also kind of just quietly observing and enjoying and just moving freely. It's nice. And so that's one primary way to interrupt the cycle. If you can't go for a walk, maybe you could do some other mindful movement, some yoga, just stand up and do some simple stretching. If you want to watch a video, I have some videos where I teach yoga on my channel, because I am a yoga teacher as well. So you can check those out on my channel, or if you have a favorite YouTuber who specializes in yoga teaching on here, you can just watch some of those videos in your living room and follow along. I recommend Yoga with Adriene. She's really good. She's really calming. And there's one named, I think, Cassandra Yogi or something to that effect. I'll put a link to her channel in the description. She's good as well. Or you can just, type into YouTube search bar yoga for stress and follow along. So yeah, just doing some movement is a really good way to start with your self-care and kind of interrupt that mental cycle of just kind of stress and overwhelm that can affect us so negatively sometimes. And then from there, well, after I did the movement, the exercise, it was really warm out. In fact, it was getting hot already. It's only March, but it was hot and sunny outside. Now I appreciate the sun here because it gives us some vitamin D, and we got some fresh air and everything. But when we got back, because we even were like starting to get a little sweaty, so I was pretty dehydrated. Well, I was feeling thirst, so I drank a bunch of water, and that was nice to hydrate after the walk. I think that also picked up my energy. And then I just took some vitamins. I took some B vitamins. I took some B6, which is kind of like this methylated vitamin that really helps me when I'm feeling low energy. It really picks me up. And I took some maca, which does have a bunch of B vitamins in it as well, and it also has some other nutrient-dense vitamins and nutrients and I think minerals in it. And okay, men, plug your ears. Go like this. Blah, blah, blah. Just don't listen, men. Advanced warning. But because menopause and perimenopause can affect our hormones and make us feel extra tired and stressed, as women. Like I went through early menopause, so I'm already postmenopausal. And so maca helps me. It's kind of like a hormone replacement therapy, but an herbal vegan version of that. And I mean, I'm not a doctor, so check with your doctor before you start any kind of herbal treatment, but that's what I read on the internet. And the way that maca affects and interacts with my body and the way I feel when I'm taking it, I believe that is how it works. I believe it is helping, my hormones. Okay, men, unplug your ears. I think maca can help men too, by the way. Men over 40, over 50, maca is good for your hormones as well. So consider it. If you want something to help you with energy and help boost your mood and everything. It can also help with like endurance and just getting through, exercise and getting through like long days and such like that. I think it comes from Peru, and the Peruvian warriors and the Peruvians would take maca as part of their meals before like a long climb or a long marathon or just something that was going to be very demanding. So, wisdom of the ancients, right? And back to water. I just wanted to say too that it sounds so simple to say stay hydrated for energy, but a lot of times I think the signals that our body sends us that we need to drink water can be so subtle that it's easy to miss them, especially when we're stressed. So we're not focusing on the signals of our body, but we're focusing on what needs to get done, and we're focusing like in this mental place, and then we can forget to drink water and of course eat healthy and everything. So those are just some reminders for that as part of your self-care. And then the other thing that helps me is to floss and practice good oral hygiene. So yeah, like if I forget to floss every day, then I'll notice that it's kind of draining me and dragging me down. And if my ass is really dragging, then I'll go floss, because I think a hygienist told me something to the effect of just having a little bit of bacteria and plaque slowly forming like in your gums can make it so that your body is fighting almost like a low-grade infection, or it's just your body has more to fight than normal if you're not keeping up with the oral hygiene. So I do notice that when I do floss, it does give me more energy. I just feel lighter, and I just feel more awake and more alert and more like ready to face whatever I need to face. So that is kind of the self-care, the basic self-care that works for me. Now, for you, it might be something different, but however you need to deal with it, just to interrupt that mental cycle of overwhelm and stress, I would suggest just some practical self-care steps. Whatever works for you, try those. And then, so that's the first part. You got to address your interior self. You got to figure out what's going to work to help you feel stronger and ready to, to go to battle, to run the marathon, however you want to look at it. Once you get through that part, then you want to just set up your space. So, organize is such a general term, but you want to organize and clean and just set up the space so that at least it's comfortable, but don't get stuck in the trap of over-organizing and being like super obsessive compulsive and getting everything perfect and spending too much time in that cleaning mode, because that's something that I've done. It's a mistake I've made in the past where I was very stressed and wanting to get a task finished, but I was like, well, I need to organize first. So I spent so much time organizing and cleaning so much and so well. I got so focused and fixated on the cleaning that the day went by and the hours went by, and suddenly the opportunity to work on the task was over, and I didn't get to the task. So don't make that mistake, but just do enough cleaning where and organizing where you have space and you can comfortably work and move around, and you don't have to dig out whatever you need from under a mountain of stuff, and you don't have to constantly be maneuvering yourself between awkward spaces and things. So make it comfortable for you, and And then you want to take a cue from the chefs, professional chefs. They have a lot to deal with. It's very intense. They have a limited time span, and they have these complex projects that they have to get to. And so what they do is a thing called mise en place, I think. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right because my French is not great, but it's basically the concept of having everything you need in one place, everything you need gathered and ready for you right there, so you don't have to spend a bunch of time wandering around searching for what you need, trying to find an ingredient, trying to find a spatula, a spoon, a pan, etc. You just get all that before you start. In order to start, you have it already. So in the case of being ready to do your taxes, you want to have your laptop ready with its charger plugged in, have all your programs open, have a notebook nearby, have your spreadsheet open, have your phone with the charger, have the phone charged, plugged in, ready to go. So that if you need to log into an account and you forgot your password, then you can do your verification codes, you can access everything you need, and it's all right there. But also, the phone it's a double-edged sword because it can be a source of distraction. So have your phone on work mode or some kind of focus mode, or at least turn the ringer off so you're not getting notifications and calls and texts, which are gonna keep pinging you and pulling you away and distracting you from the project that you need to complete. If you need to have a little coffee or caffeine, I would say go ahead, but don't do so much that it's exacerbating your anxiety. So you gotta find a balance there too with the stimulants. Coffee's a drug. Maybe green tea is a better option because it has a little less, matcha can be nice. I like matcha lattes are a nice alternative to coffee. Or sometimes I purchase those mushroom drinks, those mushroom elixir beverages. I like the one from Four Sigmatic, not sponsored. It's just something I like. Hey, Four Sigmatic, if you're listening, I'm open to a sponsorship with you because I believe in your product and I do use it myself. It can be a little pricey though. I think it's worth it, but I can't always afford it every day, but it's something that I do now and then as an alternative to coffee. So yeah, just getting yourself into that state where you're ready to go. You're not obsessively worrying about what you have to do, but you're just feeling ready to face it. It's nice. It's a skill that can be developed because probably 90% of our ability to complete a difficult task is our mental attitude, how we feel about it beforehand. If you think that you can't do it, then you probably won't be able to do it effectively. If you believe and think that you can do it and you're feeling up to the task, then you probably will be able to complete the task. I think the saying is, as a man thinketh. So if a man/woman person thinketh that they can or can't do something, that's going to determine the outcome. And it's a skill to be able to flip your mindset from really feeling negative and worried and afraid that you can't, to be able to turn it around and say, well, actually, yeah, I feel up to the task. I believe I can. I thinketh I can. So yeah. And then my main tip for once you do get started is to just power through it. So you could set a timer for yourself, set a 1-hour timer and just see how much you can do once you're in that focused mode and once you're really just sitting down and devoted to that task. Do as much as you can, as fast as you can, so you can just get it over with as quickly as possible, because this is a task that you're dreading, right? This isn't something you enjoy or you particularly want to do. It's something you have to do because you're adulting, you're a grown-up, and it's probably pretty arduous. So the best way to get through an arduous task is to sit down, devote a bunch of focus, probably at your most energetic time of the day. For me, it's morning. Probably most of it's morning. But whenever you feel most energetic and ready to go, that's the time when you want to devote to these tasks that are challenging, and just get as much as you can done in as short of a time as you can. And then maybe go in bursts. So maybe you do 1 hour, see how far you've got. Maybe you realize, okay, you only have like 1 more hour needed, so set another hour. Do that. And then if there's a few more things that need to be done and you have a few more days, then maybe take the rest of the day off from that task and then get back to it the next day and set another timer, and maybe you can get the rest of it done in an hour the next day. Or if you have to get it all done in one day, after the first hour or two, step away, take a break, do some more self-care, eat something, get your mind off of it, just sort of let your brain decompress, and then set another timer, go back later that same day and try to finish up. So power through, but with reasonable breaks, of course, so you're not exhausting yourself all at once. Another thing that can be helpful to get yourself into that focused place is to find some binaural focus beats or music on YouTube. The binaural beats, I'm not exactly sure what the science is. I think the theory is that somehow there's like a different wavelength or sound spectrum going into each ear, and when the sound waves combine in the brain at a certain point in the brain wherever we receive sound, probably somewhere near the ears, the sound waves like combine in the brain, and they form a different frequency which stimulates the focus part of the brain, and it can be really powerful. And it's not effective necessarily on its own, like separately or like just in the air. So I think it's more effective when the sounds are specifically applied to the ear that they're meant to be applied to, and then they can do their work that way. And it's pretty intense. In fact, I think in some countries binaural beats and music are banned because they think of it as almost like a drug. And some people get addicted to it. So do your research before you get involved and start working with that. But, if you can use it in moderation at times when you need the help, then try it out. And maybe talk to your doctor before you try it out, just to make sure you feel it's safe for you. And headphones aren't for everyone. Maybe you want to be able to listen to the house. Maybe you've got kids or something. You need to be able to have one ear, listening to your world, your exterior world, because headphones can be very isolating, and if they're noise canceling and stuff, you might completely not hear what's going on around you. So for safety and stuff, headphones aren't always for everyone. So if that's the case, then just search up focus music on YouTube, or music for work and study focus, something like that, those type of key search terms, and put it on your TV or on an external speaker and just have it in the background. I do that. I turn YouTube on my TV and I search up focus music, and I'm not watching the TV screen. I'm on my computer, but the music is on in the background, and that can help me because sometimes total silence can actually be kind of distracting, I think, for certain personalities, for certain brain mental type people with certain types of brains. Total silence can actually kind of detract us instead of help us focus. So if you're like that, then maybe having some nice focus music in the background can help you. It doesn't have to be specifically focus music on YouTube. Maybe it's classical music, or who knows, maybe it's heavy metal for you. Whatever it is for you, just try that, see if that helps you get into that focused state. So, just do the best you can. It's better to just do something and put in some effort and file taxes. I think it's better to just get it over with and file. And then if you realize later you've made a mistake, you can do a correction. I think for me, that's better than filing extensions, because then you're just kicking the can down the road, and you're kind of, instead of getting that pressure off your shoulders, you're just kind of deciding to keep that pressure on your shoulders for another 6 months or whatever. And I think it's just better to get it over with. Well, it depends. I'm not a tax advisor, so talk to your advisor, but it definitely depends on the complexity of your situation and everything. For me, like sometimes I wonder, why do I have to do the taxes every year? I do it every year. It's on me. And I was almost starting to get a feeling of resentment that I don't have any help from like my husband, because I was thinking, I bet most married women, their husbands do the taxes and they take care of that for the women. And most married women probably don't even have to deal with the taxes. And then I was thinking, wait, that's like actually a very gendered idea and probably totally wrong. And it's silly, because the main reason why our taxes are even complicated in the first place is because I do things like this. I have a lot of side jobs and I have self-employment income, and that means that we have to do separate worksheets, and I have to give our CPA like a bunch of papers and show how much I made at my little side jobs during that year and everything like that. So if it was just my husband's taxes, they would be so much more simple. And so that's why I do the taxes every year. Plus, I mean, I have the relationship with the CPA, and she knows me, and, you know, I'm used to dealing with her, so I'm just used to it. So it just makes sense that I do it, and I'm not resentful. I mean, I am like not thrilled that it's such a time-consuming task, and that in our country, as a matter of fact, it's more challenging than it is in a lot of the modern countries, from what I understand. Like in the Netherlands and even in Japan and places like that, they just send a form every year and they say, this is what we're aware that you made, this is the job we know that you worked, and we think you owe about this much. If you agree, sign here, boom. And then they just deduct it or whatever. And I mean, I don't have a problem with paying taxes. I understand that everyone needs to contribute to their society, you know. That's fair enough. It's just the complexity of it in this country is a lot, and I think it's not necessary that it has to be so Byzantine and sort of archaic and just hard to understand. Laymen, regular people don't understand it. I feel like sometimes even professionals don't fully understand it. And that's just strange. I just think that's not necessary, and it can be so simplified. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think. What do you do in these situations when you're facing something challenging, something arduous, something that's complex and kind of feels like an uphill battle and you're stressed about it? What's your magic trick? What's your hacks? What's your tips? I'd love to know. I'm curious what you do and what helps you. And if you're still here, give this video a like and hit subscribe. If you like videos about being over 40 and over 50 on YouTube and in the world, and videos that address self-care and ways that you can live a happier life with a little less hardship, a little less challenge, and a little more ease, definitely consider liking and subscribing to this channel. I love having you here, and I love hearing from you. And remember, radical self-love, radical self-acceptance, they'll always be there for you. You can do it. We'll see you in the next one.